right. And we're live. Welcome everybody. How you guys doing? Welcome to another evening of covering the war in Ukraine. I'm your host, Andrew Mercado, and we're live now. I do apologize for the added delay. As you guys can see, I got a new setup going. Finally got the paycheck, so I was able to get the equipment I need. Please enjoy this short intro, and we'll All right, everybody, how we doing? Check on into the stream. I'm your host, Andrew Mercado. Welcome to Mercado Media and our coverage of the war in Ukraine and any other big mainstream news, any other big world news that the mainstream news isn't covering, or any news that we can provide further insight on that the mainstream news is not. How you guys doing? Comment where you're tuning in from, what city, what state, where in the world you guys are watching from. So let's get into it. Ukraine's intelligence. Russia plans forced mobilization in Zaporizhzhia and the Kherson regions. Ukrainian Defense Ministry's Intelligence Directorate says Russia plans to carry out forced mobilization in occupied territories and send Ukrainians to fight against their own country. Russian and Belarusian tennis players have been banned from Wimbledon in 2022, according to the tournament's official website. Wimbledon, one of 4 Grand Slam tournaments, is scheduled to begin in late June. U.S. sent another 4 plane loads of military aid to the region for delivery to Ukraine, including howitzers, senior U.S. defense official. For more flights set in the next 24 hours with howitzers from President Biden's $800 million military aid package to Ukraine. U.S. assesses Ukrainian airspace over the Donbas region remains contested. A senior U.S. defense official claimed a senior U.S. defense official. Russia aircraft, quote, aren't staying very long in Ukrainian airspace because of active air defenses. Japan lifts Russia's, quote, most favored nation trade status due to invasion of Ukraine. Now Japan will be able to impose higher duties on most goods imported from Russia, except for crude oil, liquefied natural gas, and palladium. 91-year-old Holocaust survivor dies in Mariupl. Vanda Obolivkova, who survived the Holocaust during World War II, died in a bomb shelter in her hometown in Mariupl on April 4th. Chabad media outlet reported on April 19th. Nuland, NATO allies could be involved in the safe passage of civilians and wounded soldiers from occupied Mariupl. Victoria Nuland, the U.S. Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, said there was some hope that the Russians might allow safe passage from Mariupl. So, do we trust that? Anybody trust that there is any hope for Russians allowing for safe passage anywhere? I mean, traditionally, they have not done so ever in any deal. No. IMF expects Ukraine debt to reach 86% of GDP in 2022. The International Monetary Fund adds that the country's budget deficit will reach 17.8% in 2021. No, it will reach 17.8%. In 2021, Ukraine's government debt reached 49% of the country's GDP, which peaked at $181 billion. Ukraine's negotiators ready to visit Mariupol for evacuation talks. Mikhailo Podolyak and David Arkamia, our two top members of Ukraine's peace talks delegation, said they would go for a special round of negotiations to save Ukrainian military civilians trapped in Mariupol. IDF confirms one rocket fired from Gaza, no injuries in Israel. Defense chiefs already approved retaliation. Army will likely strike in Gaza tonight. That's from the Israel radar. So that's some news that is happening in the Gaza Strip between Palestine and Israel. IDF late on Wednesday night struck a site belonging to Palestinian factions in central Gaza, according to Palestinian reports, shortly after a rocket was fired towards Sturdot, southern Israel, on Wednesday night. Ron DeSantis' plan to punish Disney for supporting LGBTQ rights by repealing their special district governing authority would raise taxes on Florida families in Orlando area by $2,200 each. Florida Senate on a 23-16 vote just passed legislation ending Disney's tax privilege, self-governing power, and special exemption status. So there's some updates from Florida and Disney. All right. Checking in from Hutchinson, Minnesota. All right, that's the latest updates. Let's hop into our news here. Hope you guys had a fantastic day. Keep covering. Thank you. Thank you for choosing Mercado Media for your independent news source. Let's go to the main profile here and see what we might have missed. Like the video if you guys haven't. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're going to be going through video clips and the latest. It's from 53 minutes ago. Let's just go down the timeline. 8 hours ago. Let's check everything. There we go. So that was yesterday. So artillery strikes at the Azovstal steel plant. This is where we left off yesterday. Happy 420, everybody. Happy 420. Share this stream too to a friend or a family you might know want to tune into the war. Like to be updated on the war. Awesome setup and nice job. Thank you. I'm picking up a third monitor tomorrow. Then I don't have to use this laptop anymore. Hello. Welcome. All right. The UN envoy avoids casting blame for Jerusalem violence during Security Council huddle. So things going on for Jerusalem. This is 12 hours ago. Video of Russian T-80BV tanks and BMP-3 with V markers fighting in Mariupol that previously fought in Kyiv, presumably from the Pacific Fleet's 40th and 155th Naval Infantry Brigades. So this is in Mariupol. A lot of the ground conflict is happening there. We can just zoom in on the map. All that's left here, even on this map, is just the Azovstal steel plant. This is the city of Mariupol down here to the southeast. We did a poll yesterday about how much time we believe that Mariupol has. And I think that it was 1 to 2 days, or maybe 3 to 5 days. We can do another one. But they're still holding in the steel plant. That's Mariupol down there to the south, to the southeast. And we can see, let's check the activity up here in Kyiv before we hop in videos. What do we got? Siren alerts. Senior Ukrainian negotiators David Abraminka are ready to go to Mariupol to exit civilians. So they're going to be sending delegations to Mariupol, y'all. Actually, let's see. Let's do a poll about the Mariupol delegations quick. Well, this is what the poll's going to say, chat. It's going to say, will Russia obey humanitarian corridors to get the people out? Obey. All right. I don't know why they keep believing in Russia like this. Yes. No. All right, poll coming in, chat. Only with third-party security guarantees. All right, I just did yes, no. All right, they didn't today. All right, let's keep going. What else is going up here? This is in Kyiv. One man killed, another wounded as a result of explosions of landmine in the forests in the Kyiv region. They had landmines there, luckily left from Russians. Landmine in the forests of the Kyiv Oblast. And cast your vote in the stream, y'all, if you haven't yet. All right. Continuing on here. 1,045 bodies of civilians collected in the Kyiv region. There we go. Andriy Nebatov, chief of Kyiv Regional Police, tells Ukraine 24 TV station. He says 80% of victims were shot dead. All of them were defenseless and posed no threat whatsoever to Russian troops. Excavation of bodies is ongoing still. So they're still excavating bodies from that region. All right, let's go to Mariupol. Combat footage from Mariupol today.
Группировка войск В выдвигается на позиции. Там пехота прикрывает. Как я сказал, ведется по расчету пункт. Группировка войск В выдвигается на позиции. Там пехота прикрывает. Как я сказал, ведется по расчету пункт.
Lots of slow motion shots, huh? Lots of slow motion shots from their videos today. Aftermath of Putin regime terrorist shelling in Kharkiv yesterday, McDonald's was hit. Good morning. Good evening to those in the West here. 11 p.m. Got a new setup going. That's why we had a little bit of a delay. Hello, y'all. Check into the stream. We got an awesome setup. I'm going to pick up a third monitor tomorrow. A lot smoother for sure. A lot easier to use. Here's another clip. Another video of Pacific Fleet Naval Infantry T-80 BV tanks and BMP-3 firing positions at Mariupl near the Azovstal plant. More of this guy.
Позициям националистов. Так продолжается здесь в Мариуполе день, ночь. Нельзя с них спускать давление.
This just looks like the same area that we watched yesterday. This looks like the same block of... It looks like the same exact area. And they're just making like war videos in there now. Look at, even in front of the tank right here, you got like a civilian guy with a phone camera out. Look at, right here. This person's not even in camouflage. He's got his phone camera out. And then he's going to be out there while this tank is engaging this building, and he's just like standing out in the open. Like, what in what world would you engage a building there? And he's like right there exposed to it out in the wide open, dude. Look at this garbage. And his back is turned to it too. Like, this is the same shit we saw in Patrick Lancaster's video yesterday. We're gonna start nitpicking these shits now. We're gonna start nitpicking these RT and Russia videos a little more. We gotta pay attention. Look at the land. It looks the exact same as Patrick Lancaster yesterday. Of his Mariupol battles. Or video of quote-unquote Mariupol battles. Join our Discord server, y'all. Join our Discord server. We got videos. Dude, the buildings look the same, dude. Hold on, one more time.
Patrick Lancaster and...
Whatever. Oh. Alright, look at the buildings. Look at, what are they, like yellow, like a cream? That's a good look at the buildings. Damn, I'll be damned, dude, if those buildings... I'll be damned if these buildings all don't look like they're in the same block, dude. From these videos that are being made. Buildings, what is it? That yellowish cream with the red? Yellowish cream with the red? And this part we went through yesterday is just clowning. This whole sequence here. We don't need to revisit that. I'll be damned, dude, if those buildings don't look similar. All of them here. Look at, they got the red on the bottom. I mean, they could be just all similar in that block, but I'm telling you, like, there are videos every day that are coming out of Mariupol from the Russian side. Because where are their videos if in the Azovstal steel plant? They did like a couple videos where they were just lobbing grenades in some of the big structures. The other ones were a lot closer. I think they're just continuously hitting buildings, because this is just junk right here. Ain't no way, dude. Ain't no way this tank right here, or whatever, this BMP, is engaging this building and dude's like out in the open. Look at it, now his back's turned to this dude. You can't tell me. Alright, we'll keep an eye on those. What do we got here? clip screaming revenge. Far-right Israeli clashes with police who are blocking its way to the old city Muslim quarter. Palestinian-Israeli conflict going on again. Or not again, it's continuous. But it's starting to come back into the news, which we'll be covering it as much as we can. Excuse me, as much as we can. 9 hours ago, we had shelling in Kharkiv. Here's Kharkiv on the map. We're going to have to watch lots of historical videos and try to expand our understanding of that too. Because that's a lot. There's a lot of nuance in understanding there. Violent explosions in Kharkiv, Durachi, and Lazova. Possible long-range missile hit in Lazova. 9 hours ago, so I'm guessing this is related video. This is all related video. Violent explosions in Kharkiv 9 hours ago. Here we go. Let's check the video. Like the video if you guys haven't. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. What is this video here? Terrible, inhumane scenes. Russian criminals who are evacuating more than 100 Ukrainian civilians who have spent the last 8 weeks in their basements near the Azovstal in the condition that people are hard to imagine. So is a video. I just want to make sure there wasn't anything graphic in this, but Russians are evacuating because remember they're quote unquote liberating these places. Oh my goodness, Mish, thank you so much for the 199 super chat. That really helps. Thank you so much. All right.
Между собой один шаг, понятно? Один шаг, все, и колонны выдвигаемся. Чего? Между собой один шаг, понятно? Один шаг, все, и колонны выдвигаемся. Чего?
Well, all right. Continuing on. Just sharing some videos that were posted to our Discord server.
Опы.
What does this mean? Is there... It's just showing their... Okay, just showing their trenches and out there. I think we've seen this video.
Копы.
I don't know. Okay.
Копы.
Doesn't take long for TikTok to go real bad.
Носки.
You can see the MREs. Those expired Russian MREs.
Что там было? Смерчи? Ураганы.
То есть, когда типа не было белого скотча, они просто маску под скотч.
А у них не было белого скотча.
А, они маски под скотч просто.
Что или белые пакеты, или что-то еще обматывали скотчем.
Повязочки.
Interesting.
Копы.
So that was posted to TikTok. What else we got here? So look at them. Fun won't last long. No wonder they're lacking fuel. So Russian tanks just driving around or what? Wow. They're literally like driving those things around like however they want. Hey, how you doing, Bella? No, this one doesn't have a cope cage on it. It has sticks on it. Fast and the Furious 10, Ukraine. They're just driving those things around. What else we got in our Discord server? Again, shout out our Discord. The ruins of Moschun village in the Buchansky district of the Kiev region. That's Moschun. That's the city with the pine tree in the middle of it. Oh man, I used to be able to find it right away. In the Kiev Oblast, here it is. Just north. That's a city with a pine tree and the white fence around it. Oh wow. That's in Moschun. Just north of the city of Kiev. So here it is on the map one more time. It's right up in here. There it is, Moschun. I'm gonna drive through it real quick. Here's what it used to look like. It looked beautiful countryside. And then there's it's the city. You're 69 years old. Old dog. They showed a lot of those. Have they made it to the capital? They tried. They tried. To no success. They made it as far as the zoo in the city. That's it. Consequences of the night shelling in Kharkiv. Market heroes of labor.
Сегодня ночью прилетело. Это вход со стороны автостанции. Суки, блядь. Вот тут ёбаный.
This is in the city of Kharkiv. Kharkiv. Wow. All right. Let's continue on. Just going through the clips of the day today. That was posted an hour ago. I saw that video, or we need to go through that video. The moment Israeli warplanes targeted a site in central Gaza. That's Gaza at 1 a.m. So there was a strike in central Gaza overnight. Let's go to the newest video from, let's stay on Ukraine right now. FSB Special Purpose Center officers with Viking, MRAP, and Tiger M doing a raid on a house in Kherson. They claim they found a platoon's worth of arms, including PKM and RPG-7. Kherson's over here on our map. To the southeast from Mykolaiv, here's Kherson, Russian-occupied city. I don't know. To me, this looks like stuff the Russian military has. That doesn't look like stuff the Ukrainian military has got better equipment and better weapons than that. Yes, they're using these, but like if they found a whole platoon's worth of stuff, there'd be like some NLAWs in there. There'd be like javelins in there. They got one RPG. Unless it's like this is territorial defense weapons. That could be the other thing. If it's territorial defense, it's a Russian video, yeah. Yep, I don't know about this. Definitely 100%. Wasn't the Russians that were using this thing? This is like their, what's their version of the Mark 19? I don't know. Looks like it's set up. Looks like it's set up for sure. Let's go to our list. If you guys haven't joined our Discord server, a quadcopter munition was found by Russian forces at the Illik factory in Mariupl. Okay. What do we got here? What is this? Maundy Thursday. What to do in time for cleanup? I don't know. I don't know what this means. It's like an ad. Okay. What's this now? Prisoners of Popasna ordered to be killed. The main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine received an audio interception of a conversation between the occupiers, which refers to an order to kill all POW prisoners of war in the Popasna district.
Что я тебе могу сказать, блядь, ёбаный в рот, нахуй. Для Чандера, старшего среди них оставить, остальных отпустить навсегда, я Салим. Блядь, навсегда отпустить, чтоб их больше никогда никто не видел, включая родных.
That's audio. I had a very constructive meeting with the ambassador of Sweden. Thank you for the frank and open dialogue. We discussed Sweden's assistance to Ukraine and the U.S. Army on a bilateral basis with EU partners. The port of the USNS Soderman appears to be heading towards on maritime tracking his military ocean terminal Sunny Point. This is written interesting. U.S. coast. Okay. It has to do with the United States. The combat preposition program, which the USNS Soderman is part of the U.S. military program where specific ships are positioned across the world with military equipment to sustain elements of the 2 U.S. Army heavy divisions of around 24,000 soldiers who need to be quickly deployed. Let's go with the HET system. I drove this. Shout out to our veteran community. Any veterans we got in the chat? I served. That's a HET. And I did this. I drove these things. They got an Abrams on the back. Ours weren't that color though. We had the tan, desert tan ones. Trolls! Trolls in the chat room! That's the USNS Soderman right here, it looks like. A large, medium speed roll on and off LSMR leaving Norfolk, Virginia. The USNS Soderman. Got an LMTV driving on that thing. Look at it. Drive it right in there. Driving it right up in. Continuing on, might have to go to Rob Lee's page for more video clips. As you guys can see, I mean, they're basically just waiting for Russia to make moves. Went through that. That was an hour ago. Just type Rob Lee in. I'm going to get an update from John Sweeney as well, chat. What do we got here? Donetsk. This is the Donetsk Republic, Lugansk Republic, T-64 tank targeted by Ukraine's 30th Mechanized Battalion. Thank you, Fallon. Thank you for the super chats, as well as Mika. Thank you. Thank you so much for those. Thought you ought to know. Video of a Ukrainian Stugna P ATGM strike on a Russian tank. This video may be old. But we haven't seen it yet. Maybe we have. Oh, I don't know. It's moving. We've seen lots of Stugna P videos.
Отлично, давай. Подожди. Сколько там дерева будет?
I got it on a moving target.
Еще немножко влево уедет. Поехали. Выше, выше. Отлично, давай.
Looks like they missed the first time. We've been waiting for a Samurat ICBM test for a long time. It is almost certainly not related to the war in Ukraine. What does that mean? Putin is clearly signaling that, look, take me seriously. I have these nukes and I might possibly use them. Former CIA chief of Russia. Oh my goodness, welcome, Little Red Italian, to the YouTube channel. Welcome, thank you so much for joining. Former CIA chief of Russia operations. This is on CNN, though. We'll see what they say.
Properly notified them of that it was a planned test. But Putin was also quoted in Russian state media saying that this test should give thought to those who are trying to threaten Russia. What is Vladimir Putin doing here?
Well, I think he's doing a couple of things. First and foremost, it's important for viewers to understand that this was
tested in ICBM.
Well, I think he's doing a couple of things. First and foremost, it's important for viewers to understand that this is standard operating procedure. This is normal. This isn't this wasn't a missile test that was done necessarily to threaten the United States or our Western allies. There was notification. It was a planned thing. So this is a routine type of thing. That said, the second thing that Vladimir Putin is doing, besides testing his missiles, is he's using it to do more nuclear saber rattling. He's saying, look, people have to remember, the West has to remember that I have these weapons. And, he's going to continue to do that. I continue to assess that the likelihood of some sort of intercontinental exchange where you use strategic nuclear weapons to destroy each other's capitals is an extremely low probability. Tactical nuclear weapons, I think, maybe a little bit higher likelihood, but still pretty improbable. That would be a real slap in the face to the international community.
Russia tests nuclear missile. There we go. Russia tests nuclear capable missile that Putin calls world's best. Here we go. Russia fires new intercontinental ballistic missile. ICBM. Moscow AP, the Russian military said Wednesday it successfully performed the first test of new intercontinental ballistic missile, a weapon President Vladimir Putin said would make the West think twice before harboring any aggressive intentions against Russia. The test launch of a Samurat missile comes amid soaring tensions between Moscow and the West over Russian military action in Ukraine. It underlines the Kremlin's emphasis on country's nuclear forces. Russia's defense ministry said that the Samurat ICBM was launched Wednesday from the Platsetsk launch facility in northern Russia, and its practice warheads have successfully reached mock targets in the Kura firing range on the far eastern Kramatiorsk Peninsula. What do you guys think about this? It said the launch was fully successful, proving the missile's characteristics are, quote, in all phases of its flight. The Pentagon press secretary John Kirby said that Russia had given the U.S., quote, an advance notice about the launch in line with the New START nuclear arms control treaty between Moscow and Washington. Russia properly notified the United States under the New START obligations that it planned to test this ICBM. He said, such testing is routine. It was not a surprise. We did not deem the test to be a threat to the United States or its allies. Russia properly notified the United States under its New START obligations that it planned to test this ICBM. He said, such testing is routine. It was not a surprise. We did not deem the test to be a threat to the United States or its allies. Speaking to senior officials, Putin hailed the Samurat launch, claiming the new missile has no foreign analogs and is capable of penetrating any prospective missile defense. This is really unique weapon that will strengthen the combat potential of our armed forces, reliably ensure Russia's security from external threats, make those who, in the heat of frantic, aggressive rhetoric, try to threaten our country will think twice. Amid the new Western sanctions that banned exports of high-tech products to Russia and specifically targeted its arms industries in response to Moscow's action in Ukraine, Putin emphasized the Samurat is built exclusively from domestic components. Of course, this will amplify the serial production of the system by enterprises of the military-industrial sector and accelerate its delivery to the strategic missile forces. The Samurat is a heavy missile that has been under development for several years to replace the Soviet-made Voyadova, which was codenamed Satan by the West and forms the core of Russia's nuclear deterrent. The Samurat is the most powerful missile that has the highest range in the world, and it will significantly bolster the capability of the country's strategic nuclear forces, the Defense Ministry said in a statement. The ministry said the Samrat is capable of carrying hypersonic glide vehicles along with other types of warheads. The Russian military previously said that the Vanguard hypersonic vehicle could be fitted to the new missile. So, the United States says that it was not a surprise. It was part of their weapons scheduling, or their missile test schedule. We've been awaiting for a Samrat ICBM test for a long time, and is almost certainly not related to the war in Ukraine. As a reminder, the Samrat was one of the first of the 6, quote, super weapons Putin mentioned at the 2018 address to the Federal Assembly. All right. FSB Special Purpose Center officers with the Viking MRAP and Tiger doing a raid on a house in Kherson. They claim they found a platoon's worth of arms. So here's more from that. And let me know if you guys think this is legit or not. This is that Special Forces unit that found found the weapons. Oh my goodness, Martin, thank you so much. Martin Van Gene. Oh no, Martin Van Owen. Thank you so much, Martin. Hey, Cleve, welcome back. I see you, Cleve. Everyone's been wondering where you're at. Welcome back. We got fake in the chat. Play it one more time. Just get a good look. We saw the end half in a clip already, but this is the full video. So this is a Russian video. Let's read the description one more time. FSB Special Purpose Center officers with the Viking MRAP and Tiger M doing a raid on a house in Kherson. They claim that they found a platoon's worth of arms, including a PKM and an RPG-7. Here's Kherson on the map. All right, southeast from Mykolaiv. This is so nice having multiple screens. Oh my goodness, dude. Not having to use my TV anymore for our screen. Down here. Here's Kherson on the big map. Oops. Oh, there's a thread. I think that looked like a Mac 10. We'll look at it one more time. It looked like a Mac 10. You gotta realize too, keep in mind, their media is like, look at this, dude. Hold on. Let's look at this, dude. All right, right here. Come on. You have, okay. All right, just look at this right here. All right, civilians in the chat. All right, those that are served in the military, like right here. You have a camera, right? Like their news team that's on the other side of this wall. And this is like they're stacking on this wall, right? Everybody's trained to do this in the military. Obviously, combat arms, combat jobs like infantry, what is it, Cav Scouts, the Marines. That's a Navy, but everyone generally is trained on how to do this, right, in the military. If they're clearing this area, there is no way a camera is going to be. They're not going to have a news team positioned here. You got to remember, as much as we're watching this, there's like a camera here. There's somebody behind this camera. So why are they clearing this area? Just silly. This is like staged as fuck. Like she was like, look at, just ready to go. This was all staged right here. Ain't no way in hell. You have the cameraman already on the other side of the wall before. It's clear. No, hold on. Ready? Hold on. Let's do this. Ready? Hold on. Ready? Action. And then this is nonsense too. The way that they just open this. Like, look at this dude. Like, they already knew ahead of time what was going on here. Dude already drops his weapon here. Like, just relaxed. They already knew what it was in the other side of this door. They already knew what it was. Like, he put his weapon up for a second, like, just for show. Dude behind him immediately relaxed. Okay, so I didn't focus on this part, so I didn't realize this is where the clip starts, the one that we watched earlier, and it looks like it starts here, but like these two already get the door open, they're already in there, and then these two walk up to the door and then like pretend like they need to like stack on it one more time. Look at this clowning shit right here. Look at, and then his weapons are already pointed through the door. So, like, realistically, if there was somebody on the other side of this barrier right here, they already know someone's coming through because the whole front end of his weapon is on the other side of this door, sticking through. His hand could get blown off right here, actually. But that's if you disregard the fact that two soldiers already walked through. You'd have to pretend like those two didn't walk through, and then now here's a fresh one. Ready? All right. We'll start from here. Take it from the top. Ready? And action. And then there's nothing. Like, dude, it's all for fake. All for fake, y'all. Zoom in on the hand. On her hand? I can't zoom in. We'd have to... Looks like a camera. It's very choppy quality. Was this filmed in Ukraine? Maybe? Who knows? It says it was FSB Special Purpose Center officers of the Viking MRAP and a Tiger M doing a raid on a house in Kherson. So it says it's in Kherson. You would have to like zoom in. It's probably your phone. Just silly, dude. What is the point of this? They're just like stacked on this door for nothing. And then they don't even like look, and then they don't even, oh dude. There's so many, like, oh my god. Okay, let's pretend to look at. Yeah, this is for 420 videos. Ain't no way in hell. Let's go back and just look at all this shit now. You know what it looks like to me? It looks like this might be a staging area, and then they're just making propaganda videos in it. Like, this looks like a giant staging area, like for Russian troops, because like they're just walking around chilling in here. Oh, this will be a good time to make a video. Make a video real quick over here. This person, I was already expecting them as they're like waiting for them to look at. Oh, all right. Poor quality footage, but it looks like a mix of Aimpoint Comp M4T2 and EOTech 552 optics. A Zenko Pursed 4 laser aiming device and an LSHZ-1 Plus helmets and adventure lights, VIP IR markers. The footage shows a captured MAC-10. There you go. So someone in the chat asked if it was a MAC-10 or if it was a Uzi. Where is it? Oh, no, that doesn't want to load. It is a MAC-10. On the little burlap sack in there. Right there. Yeah, that's a MAC-10 right there. Many videos of the published FSB look staged, but that likely means that they run through them again after they actually conduct a raid. The video still tells us that something about the units being used and how they're being employed. I don't even read that yet. Yeah, it looks staged. Looks staged as hell. Video apparently of a Russian helicopter firing S-8 rockets into the air at a distance to avoid Ukrainian man pads.
Иншаллах, вертушечка погнала. А ну дай, пиздец.
Like the video if you guys haven't. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You got 452 likes. Y'all like the video. Welcome to Mercado Media.
Сейчас она даст пизды. А, она все, она погнала туда наверх. Видишь, смотри. Вон, сейчас она туда сейчас. По корректировке летит. Диви. Класс. Красавчик. Красавчик вообще. Ой, красавчик. Да. Молодец. Красавчик.
One more time. What do we got? So you can see the helicopter in the distance. It says video of a Russian helicopter firing an S-8 rockets into the air at a distance to avoid Ukrainian man pads.
Вертушечка погнала. А ну дай пизды сейчас, да, сейчас она даст пизды. А, она все, она погнала туда наверх. Видишь, смотри. Вон, сейчас она туда сейчас. По корректировке летит. Диви. Класс.
Those flares those distract the targeting, so it's shooting flares out.
Красавчик вообще. Ой, красавчик. Да. Молодец. Красавчик.
Brian says, is it just me or does the term man pads feel uncomfortable? Continuing on, we saw that. Here's more of the same media. That PNA, HOB. Well, obviously those aren't the right letters. They're different letters in Russian. Russia is using a Tiger vehicle with a loudspeaker to get Ukrainian soldiers to surrender at the Azovstal plant. They got an LRAD. You can't get away from the LRAD, y'all.
из зоны боевых действий. Раненым мы готовы готовы незамедлительно оказать необходимую медицинскую помощь. А всем, кто пожелает сложить оружие, гарантируем сохранение жизни и соблюдение международных законов обращения с военнопленными. Прислушайтесь к своим товарищам из 36-й бригады, оборонявшим завод Ильича, которые сохранили себе жизнь и сейчас говорят, что не надо бояться сдаваться в плен. Главное – это остаться в живых и вернуться в сталь всем солдатам и офицерам, которые пожелают сложить оружие. Гражданским лицам мы гарантируем безопасность и помощь в эвакуации из зоны боевых действий. Раненым мы готовы незамедлительно оказать необходимую медицинскую помощь. А всем, кто пожелает сложить оружие, гарантируем сохранение жизни и соблюдение международных законов обращения с военнопленными. Прислушайтесь к своим товарищам из 36-й бригады, оборонявшим завод Ильича, которые сохранили себе жизнь и сейчас говорят, что не надо бояться
Trying to get soldiers to surrender at this Azovstal plant in Mariupl, y'all. Alright, this is down in Mariupl. They're trying to... This is like a fortress down here. Destroyed MTLB.
Я сюда приперся, чтобы нормально пострелять. Ждал нормальной перестрелки с нормальными мужиками. Они пригнали к нам сюда стадо долбанных педофилов. Дай мне пройтись, Рань. Отвали. Пошел с дороги, урод. Тоже мне гангстер из страны.
I wasn't ready for the music to kick in. That thing looks like it's been destroyed for quite a minute. Man ponds. Continuing on. Burnt out Ukrainian Russian R-149 MA-1 command staff vehicle. All right. Ukraine, 2 destroyed Russian 9P-140 Uragan 220mm multiple rocket launchers in the Kyiv Oblast. Both are previously unseen.
Ось наші відпрацювали. Такі квітуче поле не сталося без уваги. Ось о. Ураган, похоже, да? РЗСО ураган. Кабіна знищена, техніка знищена повністю. І воно інше стоїть. Ще одна стоїть. Тут їх багато було. Повтікали інші, бо капонірів багато. Ця стоїть без коліс. А ця ціла ще. Сама установка ціла. Правда, влучання було ракети. Влучання було. Колеса познімали. Колеса познімали. Ну, стволи цілі. Стволи цілі. Я думаю, що відновлять. Вона ушкоджена, вдарена. От. Але я думаю, що відновлять наші майстри на ремонтних заводах.
Wow.
Так, є. Вони
Looks like it was stripped for parts too, like all the wheels are gone. Looks like it's been stripped for parts too. Or maybe they took parts they needed from this and put it on other vehicles or something.
Такі квітуче поле не сталося без уваги. Ось о. Ураган, похоже, да? РЗСО ураган. Кабіна знищена, техніка знищена повністю. І воно інше стоїть. Ще одна стоїть. Тут їх багато було. Повтікали інші, бо капонірів багато. Ця стоїть без коліс. А ця ціла ще. Сама установка ціла. Правда, влучання було ракети. Влучання було. Колеса познімали. Колеса познімали. Ну, стволи цілі. Стволи цілі. Я думаю, що відновлена.
All the wheels gone.
Вона ушкоджена, вдарена.
I know, right? Someone said the forest and wildlife, though. Deborah so said.
Але я думаю, що відновлять наші майстри на ремонтних заводах. Так, є. Вони розбирали, на запчастини.
You guys are 2 likes away from 500. You're getting there, y'all. You're getting there about an hour into the stream, y'all. But these streams go for 3 hours minimum. 3 hours of coverage. We listen to that. That's a helicopter video. We saw that. Another up-armored Russian truck in the Kharkiv Oblast. Looks like something. Looks like vehicle out of twisted metal. Russian Tiger M SPN vehicle. This is like their only MRAP type vehicle. MRAP vehicles are designed. They got a V-shaped hull to protect from IEDs. DNR LNR fighters with a BMP improvised helmet. One of the guys is wearing a motorcycle helmet. What the fuck? Oh, right here. Yeah, they're not kidding. They're not kidding on that. We saw that. Destroyed MTLB. We saw that. What is this here? Russian Mi-35 helicopters. Those are very large. I haven't seen an Mi-35 helicopter or Mi-35M. What do those do? I've seen an Mi-24 and the Su-25s. What does this thing do?
Military weapons. Thanks for joining me today where I'm talking about the Mi-35M helicopter. The Mi-35M is a multi-role combat helicopter manufactured by Rostvertol, a subsidiary of Russian Helicopters. It's an export variant of the Mi-24 Hind attack helicopter, primarily designed for attack and military transport missions. The helicopter delivers a more superior flight performance and maneuverability than its predecessor. The production of the Mi-35M began in 2005, and the aircraft integrates...
Dang, did you guys see the maneuverability of that thing right there? Look at the spin it just did. I would get sick in this helicopter, dude.
Flight performance and maneuverability than its predecessor. The production of the Mi-35M began in 2005, and the aircraft integrates modern high-precision weaponry for destroying ground-based armored targets, providing air support for ground missions. It can be modified as an attack, ground assault, medical evacuation, or even a transport platform. The Mi-35M is one of the modern combat helicopters that belongs to the Russian Air Force Infantry, and it's also operated by the armed forces of a handful of other countries that include Brazil, Iraq, Kazakhstan, Mali, Mexico, Nigeria, Russia, and Venezuela. This helicopter is distinguished by its improved construction based on the M24 Hind. The Mi-35M incorporates several improvements, including...
It's a way better version of the Hind then. It's still a gunship. Oh, it's still a big giant gunship. It's just a way better version of that 24.
Shortened stub wings, a new rotor system,
a Hind-D,
modern avionics, upgraded turboshaft engines, and a hydraulic system. The cockpit and vital components of the helicopter are significantly armored. The glass cockpit of the Mi-35M accommodates 2 pilots in tandem in a configuration that works for them. The cockpit is also night vision compatible, and it integrates multifunctional displays with redundant flight controls and state-of-the-art avionics. The Mi-35M has an overall length of 21.6 meters, featuring a weight and ferry configuration of 12,000 kilograms, and can carry 8 troops with a payload of 2,400 kilograms. The Mi-35M is powered by 2 TV3 117 VMA or VK2500 engines. Each engine develops a maximum power output of over 2,200 horsepower, and the engines are designed to support high-altitude missions. This helicopter is also fast, flying at a maximum speed of 310 kilometers per hour with an operational altitude at 5,400 meters. The helicopter's normal range is 460 kilometers, reaching a maximum distance of 1,000 kilometers with a full fuel load. The helicopter is equipped with an OPS 24N surveillance and sighting station, a television channel, a GPS-guided navigation system, and comes with an optional non-Russian radio station. It can also be deployed in combat missions with various geographies and high temperatures and high-altitude environments, also featuring around-the-clock combat capability for conducting missions during the day as well as the night. It's also capable of operating from unprepared and poorly equipped airfields. The Mi-35M offers round-the-clock combat use of guided and unguided weapons in regular and challenging climate conditions, and it's operational for attack flights at altitudes of anywhere from 10 to 25 meters during the daytime and 50 meters at night over land or water. This is the Mi-35 Base Series designation. It has a Base Series model that features an all-weather day or night attack model, upgraded sensors and avionics, night vision support, improved targeting systems, GPS navigation, glass cockpits, and protected communication suite. The Mi-35M1 has an alternative designation of the Mi-35M. The Mi-35M2 is with the Venezuelan Army variant and upgraded. The Mi-35M3 is the export version. The Mi-35M4 is in the Brazilian Air Force and the Israeli avionics kit upgrade. The Mi-35O variant is within the Mexican Army, based on the Mi-24VN with a Mexican FLI.
Did you see the one, the Mexican one? Got like a tiger on it. This is the one from Mexico. Mexico has these things. What the hell?
Mi-24VN with a Mexican FLIR camera system and upgraded avionics kit. And the Mi-35U is the trainer variant without the armament. Of its specifications, it can hold a crew of 2 to 3 people with 8 passengers and features 2 turboshaft engines for propulsion. The engine model is based on the Klimov TW3-117VM or the TV3-117VM. Its engine power reaches 1,638 kilowatts and features a speed of 335 kilometers per hour with a service ceiling of over 4,500 meters and a range of 500 kilometers. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a
range of over 500 kilometers. I just want to see this. Behind D.
I'm afraid I can't let you get past here.
So classic.
Liquid, you're not going any far.
The first time I seen one of these things.
Die!
I had to fight Liquid Snake, dude. Back in the day, bro. 1998, the year of our Lord. Mi-35 helicopters. A pair of Russian Su-25 attack aircraft targeting Ukrainian positions in Avdiivka. So where's Avdiivka? We got Believa Mayhew. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much for that. Avdiivka. Where is this? All right. Avdiivka in the Donetsk Oblast. So north of Donetsk. Fighting's been going there since 2014. Russian Su-25 attack aircraft flying over the Donbas. More of that. What do we got here? Mariupol footage. Video reportedly of Russian BMP-3 100mm cannon strikes on the Azovstal plant in Mariupol from a distance of 1,200 to 1,500 meters. I think the Pacific Fleet naval infantry units will play a key role in the final stages of the battle for Mariupol. This music sounds like it's from Metal Gear Solid. This is the Azovstal plant. He said that plant employed 10,000 people. This is the Azovstal plant, everyone. So that's video of the steel plant, Azovstal. Here it is on the map. And we'll watch it one more time. Azovstal steel plant down here in Mariupol. Takes up this patch of land here. Let's look at it from the satellite. Look at even the satellite. No, that's just normal smoke. But this is the factory. Very large factory. Spans lots of ground in here. Big factory. Yeah, there's many that are underground. Steel factory has 6 stories underneath with tunnels. It was made for workers. Alex from Kyiv, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Welcome, Alex from Kyiv. Again, y'all, this is Mariupol, southeastern port city. The Azovstal steel plant. Thanks, Anders. Slava Ukraine. Thank you so much. New poll coming in. All right, poll's coming in. All right, let's continue on here. Saw the Su-25. What is this here? Russian MOD says it conducted a successful... Oh, so here's a video of that Samurat ICBM test today. This is what I was looking for. And again, keep in mind that both U.S. intelligence and the intelligence community and people that are involved in open source intelligence, OSINT, have all said that this is all scheduled. And Russia actually reached out to the United States ahead of time, which is part of their START program. So this is allegedly, or this is nothing to do with the war in Ukraine. Thank you, Martin. Thanks so much. Keep on. But keep in mind that, I mean, Russia propagated it. But at the same time, this is a part of their scheduled missile testing. All right. But here's what that looked like. That new ICBM Samurat test. Send the Sky News clip to our Discord, Danielle, please. Join our Discord server, everybody. We have an amazing Discord server, nearly 4,000 in it. I pull a lot of video clips from there. I know, right? Likely it's ending places in the ocean. So there's a bunch of different angles of it. And here's a big... Dude, they had... How many camera angles are they at? Keep going here. Oh, and refresh. Why would you do such a thing? No, no. That's okay. It's got to do some scrolling. Comment where you guys are tuning in from. How are you doing? Quick viewer check-in, y'all. Comment where you're tuning in from. What city, what state? Again, I'm your host, Andrew Mercado. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the stream. I hope you guys are having a fantastic evening. I hope you had a good 420. I had to get a new setup going here. I got everything all nice and set up and ready to go so we can get the news started on time regularly. I need to pick up a second or actually a third monitor tomorrow. That'll complete my ensemble here. Ukraine's intelligence, Russia plans forced mobilization in Zaporizhzhia and the Kherson regions. Ukrainian Defense Ministry Intelligence Directorate says Russia plans to carry out forced mobilization in occupied territories and send Ukrainians to fight against their own country. We got to keep an eye out for that. You can find this in the description of our video. Russian and Belarusian tennis players have been banned from Wimbledon in 2022 according to their tournament's official website. Wimbledon, one of 4 Grand Slam tournaments, is scheduled to begin in late June. The U.S. sent another 4 planeloads of military aid to the region for delivery to Ukraine, including howitzers. A senior U.S. defense official, 4 more flights set in the next 24 hours with howitzers from President Biden's $800 million military aid package to Ukraine. The U.S. assesses Ukrainian airspace over the Donbas region remains contested. Senior U.S. official: Russia aircraft aren't staying very long, quote, in Ukrainian airspace because of active air defenses. Japan lifts Russia's most favored nation trade status due to invasion of Ukraine. Now Japan will be able to impose higher duties on most goods imported from Russia except for crude oil, liquefied natural gas, and palladium. 91-year-old Holocaust survivor dies in Mariupol. Vanda Obidikova, who survived the Holocaust during World War II, died in a bomb shelter in her hometown of Mariupol on April 4th. Chabad media outlet reported on April 19th. Newly, NATO allies could be involved in the safe passage of civilians and wounded soldiers from occupied Mariupol. That's a little loud. Newland NATO allies could be involved in the safe passage of civilians and wounded soldiers from occupied Mariupol. Victoria Nuland, the U.S.'s Under Secretary of State for Political Affairs, said there was some hope that Russians might allow safe passage from Mariupol, and we've already done a poll. I mean, I think it was 87% of our chat said that isn't going to happen, and there isn't going to be any safe passage. The IMF expects Ukraine's debt to reach 86% of GDP in 2022. The International Monetary Fund adds that the country's budget deficit will reach 17.8% in 2022. Excuse me. It will reach 17.8%. In 2021, Ukraine's government debt reached 49% of the country's GDP, which peaked at $181 billion. Ukraine's negotiators are ready to visit Mariupol for evacuation talks. We gotta see how that goes. I don't think it's gonna go well for their humanitarian corridors. Nobody really believes that they're gonna allow safe passage. Where is this reporter from? I am from Minnesota. I started streaming in Minneapolis during the riots after George Floyd had been murdered. If you guys remember, in 2020, George Floyd was murdered that week, and then there was riots that ensued afterwards. I was out there live streaming in the middle of those. So I covered those and kept going, and now I'm covering current events. Doing it from home and on the ground. So this news I cover on the ground, I wish I could make it to Ukraine or make it to happenings in other countries. I just need to keep growing and keep grinding, and then I'll be able to report on the ground there. All right, y'all. Again, like the video if you haven't. Thank you so much for joining us here on Mercado Media, joining independent media. You guys are awesome. From Australia and Queensland, good to see you. Good to see you, Queensland, Australia. Let's continue on. You have the same webcam. I need to get a better one. There we go. Now we're caught up to where we were at. Looks like Russian Su-35S fighter over Lugansk. So lots of Su-35s flying over the Donbas region. Oh, yeah. It's a 2-second video. Russian strikes on Mykolaiv. This was 5 hours ago, so overnight. Greetings from Lithuania. Keep going, Andrew. Good job. Thank you. This is Kharkiv. Kharkiv overnight. Or excuse me, Mykolaiv. I apologize. This is Mykolaiv. Here it is on the map. Because Russian forces tried to make a push towards Mykolaiv and failed miserably. And then they retreated. So they tried to make a push from Kherson to Mykolaiv. They hit soft targets, and then their military failed on Mykolaiv again. But here's footage of strikes on the city. You mostly hear me. Why? Let me see if it's a. Hold on, let me try to fix that. You mostly hear me in one side. All right, let me test. That might be better. Testing, testing. Testing, testing, audio test. You mostly hear me in one side? Is that better? Let me know if that's better in your sound. I've been here, Jim. We've been streaming every single night. Every night, Jim. It's good now. It's very stereo. Okay. Audio's fine. All right, thanks, chat. Easy to fix. Just ask the chat. All right. UAV screenshot from Aerozadivka reportedly showing a destroyed Russian vehicle. No location given, or let's see if it was geo-confirmed. Nope. Geo-confirmation be right there. Both is good. Okay. Video from Russian Orlan 10 UAV showing a strike on Ukrainian vehicle in eastern Ukraine. I'll pull up the Sky News video next. Good stereo sound, good. Russian Orlan 10 UAV showing a strike on a Ukrainian vehicle in eastern Ukraine. Let's pull up the Sky News video.
The Azovstal steelworks, the largest of its kind in Europe and the last stand in the Ukrainian defense of Mariupol. Holed up in here are soldiers, marines, medics and hundreds of civilians. The plant is cut off, but from one marine inside, answering our questions, a blunt assessment of the situation.
Здравствуйте. Что касается вопросов, которые мне были заданы, насчет положения дел у бойцов, которые защищают Мариуполь. Все находятся в нормальном, высоком боевом духе, продолжают выполнять боевые задачи. Конечно, очень много раненых, есть погибшие парни. Более 500 парней требуют медицинского обеспечения. Положение с этим вопросом очень плохое. Подвальные помещения, парни просто гниют.
With them, he says, are civilians too.
Им тоже очень требуется помощь, так как они оказались тоже в ловушке и находятся под постоянными обстрелами и ударами артиллерии.
And Major Valina, appealing to the world for help, says they are almost defeated.
Что касается заявлений русской стороны о том, что они в скором будущем могут закончить свои мероприятия, что касается Мариуполя.
Fighting around the plant has been intense. Humanitarian corridors out have now failed over several days. This footage gives us a snapshot of what's happening on the ground. Shared on social media in the last 24 hours, we have analysed and geolocated it. It shows the site from the southeast. Smoke can be seen rising from a number of buildings in the centre of the complex and in the site's northern section. 4 strikes are visible. A second later, another 2 explosions can be seen, and another in a courtyard in front of the buildings. Another explosion can be seen on the northern perimeter of the site just 10 seconds later. To the northwest of Mariupol, Zaporizhzhia is where the evacuees should be arriving, but the car parks where thousands were welcomed just days ago are now empty. On the wall inside the processing tent, the faces of the missing. Alive or dead, many of these people lived in Mariupol. Among those who have made it out, Olga Makarova and her son Timur. Her story is just awful.
There's a guy outside like yelling in the parking lot, like yelling. I can hear him through my headphones. Like, I don't know, just yelling out there. I don't know what his deal is.
She describes how her little boy was making his own earplugs to muffle the sound of war.
Я надеюсь, что, конечно, это все восстановят, и надеюсь, что мы останемся в Украине, что его не отдадут.
Away from the devastation, in Kyiv, an offer from Ukraine's president. Russian prisoners of war for the safe passage of Ukrainian civilians and troops.
We are ready to exchange our people for their prisoners. They have left corpses and their people.
In every war, there is always a place which comes to represent the heart of the horror. Here, it's Mariupol. Mark Stone, Sky News in eastern Ukraine.
Yeah, we've been going live on YouTube only. Facebook takes videos down left and right covering the war. So that was the reporting from Sky News in Mariupol. Everything we can do for war footage before we hop into some of the content creators that make analysis videos. Check out the Funker 530 website. Some of these we can watch. Some of them are not safe for work and I can't. Not that one, not that one. Drone records gun battle for Mariupol steel plant.
If you're looking for a great place to keep your firearms and your valuables when they're not on your person in the home, or
this was on April 17th. Just show it. Donations for Ukraine, just click our home screen on our channel, and the first video still have the fundraiser going. We've raised almost $20,000 for humanitarian efforts for Ukraine on our channel, so just go ahead and find those videos. They should be on our home page. You'll see them there. Gotta be careful. 6 hours ago, Russian soldier tries to use periscope to avoid sniper fire. This was 6 hours ago. Russian soldier.
Что видно? Ну, ты впереди здание там, типа, окна, двери. Там их нет. Они дальше, потому что наши пацаны по-любому оттуда выпили, и нет там смысла стоять.
He's got a periscope. Trying to avoid sniper fire.
Что видно? Ну, ты впереди здание там, типа, окна, двери. Там их нет. Они дальше, потому что наши пацаны по-любому.
Think that's effective? What we got 6 hours ago? DPR troops in the shred the streets. What's this one? Drone drops on improvised explosive on
Republic
Russian
is about
tank.
the rule of law, not men. Armored Republic is devoted to seeing the God-given.
Drone drops improvised explosive on Russian tank and the crew bails.
Есть. 94 высота. Ты опускайся по чуть-чуть. Так, ставишь. Да. Все, остановился. Спутники есть. Обережно падает бимба.
You see the crew leave. Is this the same video we've seen now? Yeah. This is that same RT video. Of what looks like the video staging area. Biden's going to speak on the war today. We'll see. See what he's got to say. We'll see about that. Ukrainian troops TikTok trends are going viral. We don't need to see that. Not safe for work. More footage from Ukraine artillery spotting drones. I can't do that not safe for work ones. I want to get the video blocked. So you got the Ukrainian drone spotting Russian vehicles. No audio on this clip here. Like the video if you guys haven't on the stream. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys all so much. Chadian military wipes out. What is this? No, Chadian military. No, we're not in Chad. $10,000 in optics completely wasted on Chechen fighters.
If you're looking for a great place to keep your firearms and your valuables when they're not on your person in the home,
it says $10,000 in optics completely wasted on Chechen fighters. Russia has thousands of decently trained infantrymen, yet they continue to give the Chechen TikTok battalion all of their optics. What are optics? Who needs those, right? What in the hell? Wow. And what has he got, a suppressor on it too? You got a suppressor on there? Yeah. Yeah, what the fuck, dude? You got a suppressor on there too. He's out there, he's out there like level 6 prestige out there with all his attachments. They got suppressors, dude. Wow. More TikTok battalion videos. What else we got here? No, that's not in Ukraine. Russian airstrike on Ukrainian vehicle at intersection 13 hours ago. So Russian strike on a Ukrainian vehicle at an intersection, not really given a location. Wasting bullets for the TikTok. Wasting bullets for the TikTok. Do it for the talk. Chechen military. No, let's see what we got here. Ukrainian filmed operating captured Russian BMP-3. You might have seen this video.
A republic is about the rule of law, not men. Armored Republic is devoted to seeing the God-given...
No, I don't think we have. So you can see the Ukrainian flag painted on the back. And there's a Ukrainian flag on it. Looks like some territorial defense fighter sitting on there. What else we got here? Multiple Russian tanks destroyed and damaged by accurate indirect fire.
When I was trying to quit smoking and dipping, and this is something that I'd been doing since I was a teenager, the only option...
Yeah, when they put music to it. Oh, they're going okay. Circle in the locations of the vehicles in the wood line. There's a T-72 in there. Burn. Targets destroyed. They're striking. They're hitting all of them. All in a row. All taken out one by one. All right. Let's go to YouTube now. Rob from Speak the Truth and see what he said from today.
How are you guys doing? Welcome over here to the channel. It looks a little different, I know, than normal. I'm on the road again, which is fairly common. Apparently, I'm on the road once a week randomly. And this time, I'm actually sitting inside of my little camper I have that I put in the back of my truck, and I tend to go fishing a little bit. I'm going to try to, but it's blowing about 35 miles an hour outside, which kind of sucks. So
like the video if you guys haven't. This is Rob Turkla from Speak the Truth. We've been watching this channel since it was small, and now it's not small anymore. He's a very big creator elsewhere, but this channel we've been watching since it was an infant. Now it's grown.
We're going to start today's video off with something that is somewhat a little bit strange. I find this to be a little strange. This video is actually coming out of a town called Chuivishia. Anyway, it's inside of Russia, and it's actually of students that are technical students inside of a school inside of that town. They're apparently forced to dig trenches in the schoolyard with the goal of trying to teach them the basic knowledge in the field of defense and their training basics for military service, which is very strange. It actually kind of looks like they're more or less just digging graves, but here is that video for you guys.
Wow. They're teaching them how to dig
And if it also
trenches.
looks like, I forgot to show you, if it looks like my mic is a little bit different, yes, it's sitting on top of a candle right now because I forgot one little tiny brass piece, but we're not going to let that thing, we're not going to let that hem this thing up. We're going to keep doing it. So Russia's actually rejected a ceasefire for civilian evacuation. They claim that it's merely a point for the Ukrainian military to aspire to provide Kiev nationalists breathing room to regroup and receive more weapons. I don't really understand the Kiev nationalist breathing room there. It's not really going to change anything, but no ceasefire whatsoever. So the Pentagon has also stated that the Ukrainian forces have received additional fighter aircraft from countries other than the United States and additional aircraft parts that will allow the Ukrainian forces to get more planes in the air. Now, they didn't receive like actual physical aircraft. They're receiving parts for their aircraft. I think I may have misconstrued that just a tad bit, but they're receiving parts so they can actually make theirs or give theirs the ability to actually get up and fly. The United Kingdom and Canada have now announced that they will be also sending Ukraine heavy combat equipment, including artillery systems. Both countries have operated the same piece of equipment, by the way. Not the same as ours, but they both have a 155mm M777 howitzer with a range of 15 to 25 miles. I wanted to actually share a little bit about the ones that we're sending over there. I want you guys to put this in perspective for everybody that is listening. So the United States gave Ukraine 18 howitzers and 40,000 rounds. That's a lot. Okay, now that's 2,200 rounds per gun. That's a bunch. Now the tube service length on these guns, which is meaning for layman's terms, the amount of rounds you can actually fire through the barrel before it's useless is actually 1,750. So they gave them 2,200 rounds per gun. So that means that they will literally burn out the barrels before they'll run out of munitions for the guns. So that is actually, it's like a good and a bad thing. They're not going to run out of munitions for the barrel length of the guns. So
But the guns might go bad though before they run out of ammunition.
They actually did think about something there. I probably want to put it out there. I would assume the U.S. military gave them like the backstock. You know when you're inside of a grocery store and you guys look at the expiration date of stuff, they always push stuff to the front that's about to expire. I'm going to assume that's what they did. The oldest went with them, that kind of stuff. So the current body count for civilians collected inside the Kiev region is now up to 1,045. These are the ones that are pulling out of those mass graves up there. 80% of the victims were shot dead, and all of them were defenseless and posed no threat to Russian troops that were inside of the area. China's defense ministry has also demanded that the U.S. cease military this is a tough word for me, always has been. Provocation. Tough one. I speak American, still trying to figure out my English there. At sea. The Chinese defense minister has also stated that the U.S. Defense Secretary Austin on a phone call that Taiwan is part of China and no one can actually change that. And I do believe this personally, that China is going to actually try to attempt to go after Taiwan itself.
Former artillery tuned in, Coach Brian. Guys, comment if you're a veteran in our chat. We have an amazing veteran community. Rob here is a veteran. He's an Army sniper. I'm a veteran. All right, I served in the U.S. Army. 88 Mike, active duty, and then I served in the reserves. So comment your MOS and then your branch, and even if you served overseas or in an international military, not outside of the United States Army. Thank you so much for your service. We have an awesome veteran community.
At some point, the only difference between this and Ukraine is the fact that it's going to have to be an amphibious assault. They are learning a ton with Russia being, well, not really gaining as much ground as they thought they would. And what are we on, like week 8 now? So that is as one thing to take note of. The fact that I think a lot of if China was going to go after to Taiwan, it would be more of bomber based. I believe they would actually. I think that would actually be probably the number one thing. Kind of like what we did before World War II. You hit them with the bombers. I think they would do that, and then they would hit them with an amphibious assault. So anyway, so this video is actually coming out of, it's going to be in Chinese, by the way, just so you're aware. Not real long, so bear with me. And it's proof that an aircraft carrier group from China is currently being led in the East China Sea, that is, and they're taking part in a comprehensive exercise which is apparently being held in response to the activity of the U.S. Navy in Japan inside of the East China Sea right now, as well as the U.S. congressman that's actually inside of Taiwan. So here is that.
Really quick, we got 19 Kilo, 19 Delta, 82nd Army, 83 or 63 Hotel. Thank you. U.S. Army, 94 Echo. What is that job? 10 to 13, 8 years active, 11 Charlie. We got here 86 Combat Support Hospital, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Thank you. I'm an Army veteran, 11B, 2nd Infantry Division, Washington State. I was stationed in Alaska, 539th Transportation Company. One tour to the Middle East, Navy, AD, and Air Force Reserves, Meteorology, and ComSec. Improvised munitions should be trained more like.
信息化这个作战能力得到了很大的提升，武器装备现代化水平有了很大的这个提高。
So a couple more tiny little news pieces before y'all. This was actually really strange. So Russia has began to prepare for its victorious parade. They hold this thing in Moscow every single year, apparently. They're rehearsing 11,000 troops for this thing right now. There's 11,000 troops right now. They're wasted doing this. They're celebrating Putin's invasion of Ukraine with 8 MiG-29 planes, which you guys will see here in a second. They're going to fly in a Z formation, from what you'll see at the end of the video I'm about to play. So let's go ahead and play that video.
384 шага по полигону, ровно столько же будет и на Красной площади. Механизированную часть, как и все последние годы, открывает легендарный танк времен Великой Отечественной. Их характеристики не раскрываются, но посмотрите...
This is the video that we went through yesterday in detail.
Можно.
А вот новинка этого года. Впервые 8 истребителей составят в небе букву Z, символ военно-специальной операции по защите Донбасса.
It somewhat reminds me of what we saw in the 30s and 40s when they would do these parades. When Hitler would do these parades, and it would be
the video looks like it's from the 80s. I mean, they've been doing those. They've been doing these type of parade videos. Same with North Korea.
Swastika, he'd fly in the planes. If you guys have not seen that, you know what? We'll overlay an image for that. So here's that. So now they're just doing the same thing, just with a Z emblem. So I've said this multiple times on this channel and this podcast, whatever you want to call this thing, that I believe that this is the same symbolism as swastika in the sense that people can get behind it. And not saying that they both are meaning the same thing, but I'm talking about the power of the symbol. I think the Z symbol and the swastika both have significant power. Or, well, the swastika used to, but the Z symbol clearly does there in Russia. But if you're not aware of what they're celebrating, by the way, it's to commemorate the World War II anniversary over Germany. So the win over Germany. And he was hoping to actually take over Ukraine by this time, and I don't think that's going to happen. So there is that. So a U.S. defense official has actually stated that Russians may not strike the moving convoys of weapon shipments coming into the country, but they would rather hit the infrastructure like railroads, bridges, and roads. I think that has a lot to do with the fact they don't want to hit and kill an American soldier, giving the Americans and NATO a reason to enter this war. As much as Russia would like to pretend they want a NATO inside of this war, they do not. We know they don't. They don't want to even fight against Japan, for God's sakes, on the Kuril Islands. Like, I know that's not going to something... I don't see that happening. It's going to take some crazy escalation for that to happen, which, in fact, they did actually just test launch an ICBM, which we'll show here in a second. But the U.S. official stated that the attacks would not stop shipments entirely as there's just way too many shipments coming in. And I do believe that to be true. I don't think Russian forces or Russian military or just the Russians in general have the capability of stopping NATO and the United States. I really don't. If the United States wants to do something, they're going to do it, and they're going to find a way around it. And I think they're...
We have a task and purpose video to watch as well. After Rob.
Hello, welcome.
Why NATO's rapid response force might not work. So we'll watch this after.
I'm really not too concerned about it. I think they're going to do pretty well getting these shipments in for the Ukrainian forces to actually...
63 Bravo, thank you for your service.
And that's another thing. It's very clear and very evident that the Western powers are bringing these shipments of weapons in for the Ukrainian forces is putting a very... Like, the Russian forces, they're feeling it. Or they wouldn't be wanting to target them. Like, they didn't think about it 4 weeks ago when they were starting getting them, like, NLAWs and javelins and stuff. They weren't really thinking about it now. Now they're really, really considering everything to every single type of approach they possibly can to stop the shipments from coming in. Russia's also now tested their RS-28 Saramat. It's an ICBM known in the West as the Satan II. But anyway, Putin has actually referred to this missile as food for thought for those who threaten Russia. So here is the video of the test launch for y'all.
Hit that like button, y'all. You saw this video. I don't know, that test video looks a little different than the one we saw. This one looks like it's a test launch, but it doesn't look like the one we watched. This one's got like checkered board on it. Did he get the right video? This is the one from today, I thought. The one today didn't have a checkerboard on it, and there wasn't as much snow. I don't know. I thought this was the one from today. It looks a little different than that one. This is the one posted today. Interesting.
So if you guys are new to the channel, this is my little handy dandy map. We're going to talk about this here for a second. So we're going to be looking over here in the eastern side of the country. This is where everything has been pretty much going on. Like, when I mean everything, pretty much everything. So up near Kharkiv, they've actually pulled back just a tad bit. That is the Russians inside the northern side of this country. They're not doing any sort of major offenses. There are some soft units still working on the northern and northwestern side of Kharkiv trying to push in. And those areas are still mined. Now, this Russian element that is still inside of this city, I'm going to assume they're going to want to hold this thing off as much as they possibly can because they don't want to give up this main route. All right. Now, I do believe the Ukrainian forces are still going to attempt to try to get down on this main route to try to disrupt the logistical supplies that are coming into this northwestern side and northern side of Izium, because we know there's 25,000 men roughly inside of this area right now. If you guys are new to this channel, this is my map. I draw this thing up myself. I take notes on what's going on from multiple different sources, and we put it on here, and it's updated every single day. So this is the most updated version. So the other day we talked about a Ukrainian force that actually pushed out of Sloviansk and moved north. Now, right now, I told you guys yesterday, I believe that force is somewhat cut off because there was a Russian force that did take Crimea and moved west. So as we can see here, I have not changed this annotation on this map, mainly due to the fact I'm not 100% certain that this area is fully secured by the Russian forces. I do know that there's another Russian force that has pushed out of Tyranny and pushed a little bit southwest, so they are trying to cut off that Ukrainian force that is kind of in between Sloviansk and Borova. I told you guys I thought they were going to be pushed through into Borova to try to cut off this logistical supply about 2 days ago, but that's pretty much when Russia went on their offensive. At the same time, Ukraine was actually trying to go on a counteroffensive to cut off these supply routes. Now, down over here on this entire area, this entire eastern front has been absolutely shelled to oblivion, like just insane. Now, there's heavy fighting going on in Rubizan still. It's still about the same. I mean, when I mean that Russian forces have maybe taken control of an extra few meters, that's pretty much it. They have not been able to push through very much. Popsana is one of the hot areas right now, and Avika, which is down over here. There hasn't been a lot of movements, but I will say it is confirmed that Marinka is now controlled by the Ukrainian forces. They went on a counteroffensive yesterday evening after we made that video, and they did secure the outer perimeter of this town, which was controlled roughly, I think 25%, we talked about this yesterday, was controlled by Russians, and now it's controlled 100% by Ukrainians. So the eastern side of the country, by the way, we're just going to stop right there. There's not a ton of movement by either side. There's tons of fighting. I will say just south of Izium, they are making an assault and a southerly offensive trying to push down to Sloviansk. So we'll see how that actually pans out by tomorrow. There'll be a lot more stuff coming out, and we'll have to take note of this Ukrainian force that's actually currently cut off. I don't know exactly where they are, so I put them right here. I'm just going to put a UK. That's the Ukrainian force that is currently cut off somewhere in this just general vicinity. I'm not saying that they're not going to make it back by any means, and there's not a large enough element to actually push out and actually assault anywhere else. I have no idea. For all we know, they can actually push over here, to Tyranny and push down to help over their element down in Torsk. For all we know, I really have no idea. So with that being said, we're going to move down to Mariupol. So down in Mariupol, there's been quite a bit going on. So we talked about the Azaz regiment down there and this big plant. So this plant's pretty extensive. This is pretty much what we're going to talk about today because there's a lot going on down there. So earlier today, the Azaz regiment declared that they would not lay down their arms and surrender. They would not do it. And Major Volnya of the 36th Separate Marine Brigade stated that the Ukrainian troops would also now not surrender under any circumstances whatsoever. He's also made a plea to the international community.
The vote in our poll, guys, 58% believe, do you believe Russia will completely take Mariupol? 58% are saying yes, 20% say no, and 22% are saying it will be a back and forth. So interesting.
For a third-party extraction, which I don't think I don't know how that's even going to be possible. I really don't. I don't think we talked about. I think it was French. I think the French were going to try to go into Mariupol, which did not happen. Clearly, there was no way for them to get in. One of the things that they're worried about is the Russian guarantee. So the Russian guarantee right now of safety They think it's a trap to capture his men instead of actually fighting them to death, which I talked about yesterday. I don't believe the Russian forces want to push inside of this compound, I guess you would say, because it's pretty much what it is. It's a steel plant that's been around forever. It has a tunnel system that goes 6 stories underneath the ground. It's very, very crazy, which I actually have an image. I'm going to show you guys of it right now. But that's what he's worried about. They're actually not going to follow through and give them the safe patches that they were, well, telling them they're going to give them. So pro-Russian accounts have actually been pushing this photo, which I'm currently showing to you guys right now.
Let's pause this quick. It's on Reddit. Posted in Ukraine war video report. Maybe we need to start going through Reddit too, y'all. I haven't spent any time on that website. I heard once you start down the Reddit rabbit hole, you don't come back the same. But we need to start doing this because this is what I was looking for. Look at their tunnel systems. Deep underground is a vast network of bunkers and tunnels built during the Cold War to safeguard the steel plant's 40,000 workers in the event of a nuclear attack. Dang, y'all. Tunnels are believed to be almost impossible to penetrate by bombings. Perhaps the only way to clear the place out would be to use a chemical weapon or chlorine gas. On the surface are mile after mile of warehouses, furnaces, or power plants, and chimneys providing cover for Ukrainian troops. The maze-like system is thought to contain around 1,500 Ukrainian troops.
In an effort which seems to justify or encourage the use of chemical weapons to eliminate the remaining Ukrainian troops that are actually inside the plant down in the tunnels. You guys can see this thing is really expansive. It's pretty interesting in how it's layered. It was built back way back in the day, actually, like back in like the 30s and 40s. It was used, and that's why they have it dug down so deep, so when they would get bombed, that there was like 4,000 people that worked here. I looked into the history of this thing. It's pretty crazy why these tunnel systems were built, but pretty much that's it. So you guys see this image. You guys can see all the gas on the image and everything like that down on the bottom, and it's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts that they're talking about this. And the reason why I believe this thing is going to be so difficult for them to actually fully clear is the fact that it's going to be 6 stories underground. It would actually be kind of one of those kind of situations where I talked about in multiple other videos about why they would want to use chemical warfare inside of these urban environments, because it would lead to less casualties for the Russian military and easier for them to clear these really heavily confined spaces, kind of like a tunnel system. I don't know how they'd ever be able to prove it if it ever did happen, but that is something to take note of, I guess, since it is something that I've seen. And I've actually come down and found you guys some drone footage, and I would like to share with you guys of the Iron and Steelworks plant, the same one we're talking about. It's from this morning that shows the devastation of the final area which being held around Mariupl. And last but not least, this video you're about to see is actually from a Russian network showing the operations of Su-34s in the area that are claimed to be bombing the plant inside of Mariupol. And here's that.
All right, that's Speak the Truths video. Like the video if you guys haven't. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Let's check our list before we hop into what is it? Task and Purpose. Kadyrev's men appeared in Kherson region. They set up their headquarters in the village of Nope. Oh, so we got the TikTok army is now over in the Kherson region. Again, TikTok army's been over near Mariupol. Now they're over by Kherson. Where is this? It's to the northeast of Kherson. Or east. Novopetrivka. Turkish foreign minister to visit Israel. Let's check our list. Anything new and updated? Ukraine siren alert in Kharkiv. Katanov takes care of humanitarian aid on March 19th. He went to Popasna. Russians agreed on a green corridor, but Katanov's bus was fired upon and he was injured. Weird. Like, I don't even know why they're trying to negotiate with Russia for anything. He was injured. Read the story. Where is it? On March 19th, and the Russians agreed on a green corridor. That was March 19th. I don't think they're gonna. Those corridors are garbage. I don't even know why they work those with Russia, or even try to. Lugansk governor: Russian forces destroyed all food warehouses in Severodonetsk. Lugansk Oblast Governor Sergei Hadai said there are no surviving food depots left in Severodonetsk and that residents are only able to receive food through humanitarian aid. All food warehouses destroyed in Severodonetsk. Let's pull that up on the map. Pull that up on the map. Severodonetsk here. Where the red marker is, there's Donetsk and Lugansk. Severodonetsk. There it is, zoomed out. And the Donbas. All food warehouses destroyed there. Police in the Kyiv region have found 2 more graves in Borodyanka with the bodies of 9 more local residents killed during the occupation of the city. They found the bodies of 2 35-year-old men and a 15-year-old girl, as well as bodies of 4 men and 2 women. 3,000 or more of the enemy Wagner militia have been eradicated to Ukraine. Thousands of Wagner Group mercenaries killed in Ukraine. Nearly 8,000 mercenaries from the infamous Wagner Group have been deployed by Russia and Ukraine but have suffered heavy casualties.
A description of an actual Wagnerite. He said that about 10 to 15% are sociopaths, people that go there just because they want to kill. They're bloodthirsty. They're not just adrenaline junkies, they're real sociopaths. Obviously, in a state-controlled military army, there's a court-martial, just to put it bluntly, and there's no court-martial in a Wagner-like organization. And that allows for much more freedom of cruelty. Relatively speaking, Wagnerites are more prone to violence, but in this particular war, we see significant violence also from members of the Russian army, and the violence that we saw in Bucha primarily comes from members of the Russian army, and you can imagine what the Wagnerites are able to do. Because there will be more of that.
Putin used a conventional war strategy to take over Ukraine. He thought it would take a few days. It didn't work at all. And now he's shifting to unconventional warfare. But Russian unconventional warfare is massacring civilians. It's coercive in nature. It's what Putin did in Grozny too. It's what they did in Aleppo. And it's what they're doing, I think, now. And so, yes, Wagner may be a leading actor, but I also think it's Russian policy with their armed forces today as well.
Policy. Continuing on, all clear in Kharkiv. Yeah, we got an update from the Ministry of Defense from United Kingdom. Intelligence update: Russia likely desires to demonstrate significant successes ahead of their annual 9th May Victory Day celebrations. This could affect how quickly and forcefully they attempt to conduct operations in the run-up to this date. New poll coming in. New poll. Do you believe Russia will make a move before May 9th Victory Day? Quote. All right, polls coming in. All right, Russia likely desire to demonstrate significant successes ahead of their annual 9th May Victory Day celebrations. This could affect how quickly and forcefully they attempt to conduct operations in the run-up to this date. Russian forces are now advancing from staging areas in the Donbas towards Kramatiorsk, which continues to suffer from persistent rocket attacks. High levels of Russian air activity endure as Russia seeks to provide close air support to its offensive in eastern Ukraine to suppress and destroy Ukrainian air defense capabilities. Why does Russia even have a May 9th? Should we look into that? May 9th, Russia. Why is the 9th of May celebrated by Russia? By knowledge. Let me see. Let's do this one.
Today is the 9th of May, which is the
It's not the 9th of May, but we'll figure out why it's important, all right? This was recorded in 2017. Let's find out why it matters.
Victory Day of the Soviet Union against Hitler and his Nazi Germany. But Soviet Union is not longer available on the map, so the Victory Day is for Russia. So I made this video because you probably wondered why is the 9th of May celebrated by the Russians. All started in 1939 when the World War II begins with German aggression against Poland. Because of that, England and France declared war on Germany. Hitler wasn't so surprised about this fact and knocked to Belgium and Netherlands doors, and from there into France. So after 2 years in 1941, Germany had almost all Europe on their side, and on the date of the 22nd of June, Hitler declared the war on the Soviet Union because he wanted more land. Why not? And now the German Reich have two primary opponents in Europe. First one is Soviet Russia and the second one is the United Kingdom. There isn't a third one because France is gone. Well, the Germans are getting now into Russia and their primary objective is to capture cities of Leningrad, today St. Petersburg, Stalingrad, which is Volgograd today, and the capital Moscow, which is still Moscow. So Germans and their allies Romania, Italy, Hungary and Finland are attacking the Soviets. Big cities begin to fall, cities like Odessa, Kiev and Minsk. The European part of the USSR was the most populated and millions of civilians suffered the atrocity of the war. The Russian people endured hunger, misery, pain and fear, and many of them had to work very hard to death to keep the enemy at distance. For example, the worst hunger was on Leningrad. The supply lines were cut off and the people were left hungry there for 900 days. On that siege, 1.5 million people died. Between the two major cities, Leningrad and Stalingrad, was nearly a distance of 1,700 kilometers, so the front line length is insane even for a well-prepared army. Here on the Soviet soil were the biggest bloody battles of the war. There were the Clash of the Titans. Between 1941 and 1945, when Soviets won the war, more than 8 million soldiers died and more than 18 million civilians, which means a total of 26 million dead people during the World War II on the Soviet front. As you know, in final the Russians won the war against Nazi Germany. The final day was the 9th of May 1945.
There, final day.
A war which they called the Great Patriotic War. So even if they lost a population bigger than Hungary.
There's another one. Look at that, like a Victory Day parade. This is last year. This was last year in Russia. They were already wearing that ribbon last year. They made that Z out of this ribbon. That was a year ago. All right. Let's watch Task and Purpose, why NATO's Rapid Response Force might not work.
Welcome back to Task and Purpose. I'm your average infantryman, Chris Cappy, and this episode is all about the NATO Rapid Response Force.
This unit is designed to be the West's way of responding to any micro...
Because the other thing, too, we're keeping in mind is Sweden and Finland are joining NATO. So let's see if there's anything late on that. Sweden, NATO. Finland and Sweden moving forward toward possible NATO membership. Brace for Russian backlash. Last Wednesday in Stockholm, the prime ministers of Sweden and Finland, countries where neutrality and military non-alliance are deeply woven into their cultures, shocking the world by issuing a joint statement that, thanks to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, they were considering applying for membership in NATO. So they're going to join that. So let's find out. Task and Purpose is why NATO's Rapid Response Force might not work.
Microaggressions by countries like Russia or China.
So they're able. Hello, welcome back to Task and Purpose. I'm your average infantryman, Chris Cappy, and this episode is all about the NATO Rapid Response Force.
This unit is designed to be the West's way of responding to any microaggressions by countries like Russia or China.
So they're able to deploy anywhere
microaggressions
in the world at the drop of a hat.
On the other hand, some analysts think this unit is outdated, under-equipped, and not ready to tackle anything other than small security threats.
But this story actually tracks the US and NATO's change in strategy from the beginning of the Cold War all the way to today. With the benefit of hindsight, we're able to see where NATO made some mistakes, where they misjudged, the type of response force that they would need, and where they got it right. You know, growing up, you probably had band posters on your wall. Meanwhile, I had posters of the NATO Rapid Response Force on mine. All of the 30 different countries that make up the military alliance of NATO usually operate very independently from one another, with a minimum amount of coordination happening between international units. Everyone stays in their own lane for the most part, except when it comes to the Rapid Response Force. They're like the all-star baseball team, but for the military. So dreamy.
What I mean by that is each country in the alliance sends their best soldiers to rotate in and out of this unit.
When the North Atlantic Treaty Organization was originally created in the aftermath of World War II in 1949, the group originally had no multinational quick response force. So why do you need to create the NATO response force then? And what's all this I hear about it being plagued with problem after problem, from the beginning to the point where some analysts think that it should be disbanded altogether?
How does the alliance decide when to use the response force and when to just look the other way? Is it completely arbitrary?
Did you know that the NRF wasn't used during Russia's first invasion of Ukraine in 2014? Major missed opportunity. You blew it, NRF. So stick around to the end of the video where we're going to cover the response to Russia's recent invasion of Ukraine in 2022. And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to fire off a round into your like and subscribe button. Let's move out, huh? Hey Spare Parts Army, so before we get into what's wrong with the NATO response force, I want to tell you about a huge change that I just made in my life last month that I'm
through these nature trails. They're still good to go. Being out of the city, now I actually have to drive a car, which can be /task and
be sent into battle within
response force.
I ask you about this rapid
military alliances. They first
15%.
In 2002, at the NATO Prague Summit, which is like the summer camp for military alliances, they first decided to launch a new unit called the NATO Response Force.
I ask you about this rapid, what they call a rapid reaction force.
Yes.
It would go a force of 5,000 to 20,000 troops that could be sent into battle within a month.
In 1994, we had a combined joint task force that can be formed to receive troops in 14 days. So this, to me, is with the headquarters, now the capability that go with it. This is not a Cold War formation.
There you have it, straight from the former NATO Allied Supreme Commander. This is not your grandfather's NATO.
It fills what's called a capability gap. So that gap, that vacuum between the UN peacekeeping forces and the slow-moving, cumbersome big armies like the US military, that's where this new NRF would sit.
This was truly a revolutionary time for NATO. You got to remember, this is the same summit where they're thinking of adding all these new countries. This could be seen by some people as early NATO expansion.
So it takes a lot of time to deploy units. The initial goal was to create a real-life force with assigned combat units, not merely a disorganized troop list that had been pulled together from different countries on an ad hoc basis like it was before. No, the new NRF, the NATO Response Force, is a cohesive group of different elements from different countries. When this force is used, it has the added benefit of knowing that many of the member states will have some skin in the game. It's kind of shocking they didn't have something like this prior. There are very high standards, high readiness levels for these troops. The NRF is the top quality prepared, so my hands in my pockets, boots on blouse look wouldn't qualify. To be chosen for this elite unit, you need to take part in 6-month exercise programs, and then it's designed around the standardization of international military tactics, so you have to learn all about that. The pre-training period is around a year long. All of this training is prep work so that they're able to deploy quickly anywhere in the world. The recon teams make up phase 1 of the deployment for this unit, which can last anywhere between 1 and 5 days. That's almost as fast as Amazon Prime speeds there. Oh god, now I'm waiting for an Amazon Prime. Inevitably they're going to come out with a mercenary army option. So 5 days might sound like a long time, but the NRF is combined operations units. They're not just light airborne teams. The NRF has tanks, jets, naval ships, and bearded special forces units with black bars over their eyes. Deployment of the entire HQ Joint Force and immediate reaction forces takes up to 30 days long. Again, that might sound like a long time, but these are heavily armed troops that need to be moved into position slowly. It takes a minute to set up bases and infrastructure to provide for those.
Next video.
Exactly going according to their initial plans.
Oops. This is from the 31st, but I started watching it, and it's a good video on how Putin's invasion is changing our world. We'll do that next.
Units. Any faster than 30 days, and you will have overshot your logistics unit. The NRF is supposedly made up of 40,000 soldiers, according to many sources that you'll read. But that's not really the full story, because when you dig a little deeper, it turns out that that 40K number is actually only referring to the number of personnel that it could potentially end up with. All the member states agreed 40,000 is the top amount of troops that the NRF can have. In reality, the number is much lower at around 12,000 soldiers, and then even lower when you consider the real core of the NRF is about 3,500 soldiers, but we'll get into that later. In an interesting article written by John R. Denis titled "Disband the NATO Response Force," he outlines some of the problems that this unit faces. You see, apparently the NRF has been plagued with problems since its creation, when it was declared fully operational in 2006. To me, it doesn't mean we should necessarily give up and toss this thing out, but there are some valid concerns here that need to be addressed. From the beginning,
sounds like it for sure.
It faced shortages in its fighter jets and helicopter units. The entire team didn't have reliable intelligence or logistics units. Not everyone was pitching in their fair share of resources in the NATO countries. Sure, you could blame part of this on the fact that the alliance was stretched thin fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan, but that doesn't account for all of these issues here. You see, the lack of units led to the entire thing being reorganized in 2009. So it went from having 25,000 troops to cutting that number in half. So after this point, they had about 13,000 soldiers, and it was called the Multinational Immediate Response Force. It now had a different mission set, with more specific missions, a more narrow mission objective list. So before it was this broad, general, all-encompassing concept, but personally, I don't see that as a bad thing. Sometimes you have to redefine and retool concepts, especially in the early stages. And that's exactly what NATO was actually planning to do. They had written about it prior.
Everything needs to change and evolve. For instance,
when I first started making YouTube videos, this was exclusively a military dog and military makeup channel. And now it's evolved into something different. And in the future, it'll probably be a military Minecraft channel. So look forward to that. Some of the main tasks of the NATO Response Force include crisis management, which can mean responding to any crisis like chaos during elections. They'll be some of the first on the scene in the event of a dreaded World War III. The NRF also handles peacekeeping missions that the UN isn't right for. They respond to natural disaster relief, and they're tasked with protecting critical infrastructure, so like power plants. Immediate defense of...
So that just showed you what they did. Let's listen to that one more time. This tells you what they do.
Include crisis management, which can mean responding to any crisis like chaos during elections. They'll be some of the first on the scene in the event of a dreaded World War III. The NRF also handles peacekeeping missions that the UN isn't right for. They respond to natural disaster relief, and they're tasked with protecting critical infrastructure, so like power plants. Immediate defense of alliance members in the event that an Article 5 clause comes into effect. That means if one of the NATO countries gets attacked, then the NRF is going to be the first to respond. So has this unit ever never been deployed before. Yes, the first time they were used was in 2004 during the Afghan election. They were used during the Athens Olympic Games and during disaster relief in Pakistan in 2005. The funny part, the NRF was not used during Russia's first invasion of Crimea in 2014, and that it would have been a perfect opportunity for a large-scale deployment. It would have been justified use of force, yet they were nowhere to be seen. Why would they balk at the one real justified chance to deploy even to a nearby NATO country? Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, the NRF wasn't designed to move quickly enough. It was too large and clunky to get a consensus and respond in time. Back then, everyone wanted to pay as little attention as possible to that conflict. Of course, they wanted to look for ways around it, hoping that they wouldn't have to directly confront Russia. At the time, in 2014, everyone was still holding out hope that Russia was going to be our besties. I think the NRF has a bit of a groupthink decision by committee problem. All right, everyone's got their coffee and pastries, great. Let's pool our opinions and then put our fingers to the wind and take a vote and come up with the least risky and most useless decision possible, huh? When you have so many different countries involved, they all need to sign off and agree to how this unit's going to be used and where they're going to send the forces. At the end of the day, the overall command of the NRF is in the hands of the Supreme Allied Commander of Europe. Getting a consensus is difficult unless it's for hurricane relief, which no one can easily say no to. So did they learn anything from this incident though? Kind of yes and no. After the 2014 Ukraine invasion by Russia and the annexation of Crimea, this led to NATO rethinking their whole force and adding the spearhead force, called the Joint Task Force Selection Unit. This is the elite special forces, high-speed, low-drag types who are small and able to move quickly. Surely now Russia would be deterred from acting out in class ever again. Checkmate! This response from NATO to form 4 multinational battle groups of roughly a battalion size, so 800 to 1,000 troops. Now, you're not going to mix different countries because there's a problem speaking different languages, so you're always going to have, say, a battalion or a brigade from France and a brigade from Canada. The JTF is mostly led by the United Kingdom, Canada, Germany, and the United States. They were actually forward deployed on a rotational basis to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland. In 2015, they ran a series of trials and exercises to evaluate and refine this concept and how it would be implemented. Before we get into the NRF's response to what happened in Ukraine in 2022, we need to understand the history of how valuable the NATO Rapid Response Force is and what they're up against.
Take a moment. This is Task and Purpose, but like the video if you guys haven't. On our stream, we're at 707 likes. We got about 20 minutes left on the stream, y'all. Comment where you guys are tuned in from, what city, what state, where in the world. I'm Andy Mercado. Welcome to Mercado Media. If you guys, this is your first time, check into the chat. Let me know.
Against in terms of their adversaries. Russia has been increasing their militarization and mobilization over the past 10 years. The Russian military was pretty stagnant from 1991 to 2010. In 2009, Russia changed their entire national security strategy. On May 13th, Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, who was basically a puppet controlled by Putin, he went ahead and wrote out and created what was called the National Security Strategy of Russia. And this went on through the year 2020. This thing has since provided the basis and rationale for Russia's military doctrine and foreign policy. Isn't it fascinating how countries put into writing exactly what they say they're gonna do, and then when we have this plan in front of us, we still don't see this coming? It basically...
Let's go. We got the mighty South Australia. Let's go. Shout out South Rochester, Minnesota, Lithuania, Southern Illinois, Canada, Ontario. Welcome. John, how you doing? Sydney, Australia is tuned in. Iowa, Halifax, Canada is tuned in. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Welcome, welcome. How you guys doing? Berkeley, California. Welcome. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button, y'all. It's a red button. It's free to do. Hit that button and you're able to comment. If you haven't done so yet, we got upstate New York tuned in, Vancouver, BC, Canada. Thank you so much. Mook, Luke, and Manukik, Marine. I totally messed that up, JF. Lynchburg, Virginia is tuned in. How you doing? Buffalo, New York. Welcome. Good to have you too. Kalamazoo, Michigan. Upstate New York. Good to have you. Cheers. Cheers. How you doing? Great stream. Thank you so much. We're live every night. Not between 9 and 9:30. I pushed it late tonight, but I went live on Instagram. That's the other thing, guys. Follow me on Instagram for more live streams. I was live building this setup that I have now that I'm streaming on. Need to go pick up another piece of it tomorrow. But follow on my Instagram here, the Guru Merc. Follow there. Live streams there. Yo. Portugal, how you doing? Chicago's tuned in. Good to see you. Hey, Andrew, Michael in Melbourne, Australia. Cheers, mate. How you doing, Michael? Good to see you. Follow on Instagram. I do live streams there. Q&As and shorter discussions. Yeah. Follow there. Thank you guys so much for choosing independent media to tune in. Let's continue.
Basically states that Russia wants to become the world's leading political and economic power. Now that's all well and good. I commend that effort, that goal, but they believe that NATO was an obsolete security organization and that it should be replaced by a new body, mainly them. It states that NATO's expansion to countries sharing borders with Russia and NATO's scope of missions are deemed unacceptable by Russia. They flat out say that an increase in global competition for resources could lead to military conflict, including near the border of Russia and its allies. This is what the strategy document warns about. Now, it seems obvious in hindsight that this was all headed to war and that there was escalation happening in Europe. Ben Hodges, the former commander of the US Army in Europe, and he's currently the Pershing Chair in the Strategic Studies at the Center for European Policy Analysis. He was quoted as saying some criticism of NATO's current response posture. He said, quote, "We need to recalculate the entire readiness posture of our military forces, because collectively NATO forces are not ready. Germany has 3 divisions, but they're not ready to fight. The British Army today is way too small. NATO exercises are far too scripted in advance, and they put too much emphasis on Distinguished Visitor Day, rather than adopting the necessary rigor where you train to failure and then learn from the experience." And he's very right, because I don't think it was so much NATO that needed to train on that, it was Russia that needed to train on all that. But it's true that NATO also needs to train on that. On February 25th, 2022, the day after the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, NATO all got together and said, hey, what should we do about all this nonsense going on here? Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said that the NATO leadership agreed to deploy the NRF. We saw that the NATO response force was activated in a way that it had never been used prior to then. Up until now, it had all been low-level security missions. This time, it was called on to guard alliance territory. That doesn't mean that it was called on to guard Ukraine. No, it was stationed to protect actual NATO countries. Since the alliance needs to come to a consensus on how many troops they're sending, they were adjusting the amounts of soldiers and tailoring it to the mission. The NRF would be sent to the alliance eastern flank, and it would be made up of mainly French troops whose turn it was to be rotated into that position. Currently, it's mostly made up of about 3,500 French and German brigades. General Todd Walters, who's the current head of the US European Command and is the NATO Supreme Allied Commander, said this quote, "This is a historic moment and the very first time that the alliance has employed these high readiness forces in a deterrence and defensive role." Before the invasion even happened on February 11th, 2022, NATO response included 4,700 troops from the 82nd Airborne, which were sent to Poland, and a cavalry striker unit, which was sent to Romania. One thing I could see happening is that...
That's task and purpose video. Let's continue on. That's the intelligence update. Let's see if there's anything new on our list. All clear in the Kharkiv Oblast. What do we got? Ramzan Kadyrov claims that the Azovstal factory in Mariupol, quote, "will be completely under the control of armed forces of the Russian Federation before or after midday." This is the newest from Kadyrov, and again, Mariupol and the Azovstal steel plant is in the southeastern part of the city. It's a southeastern port, and they have not eradicated all of the Ukrainian forces in there yet. As we're learning, there's an intricate tunnel system that can outlast shellings. But here's Kadyrov. Can't speak the... Can't understand what he's saying. There's no subtitles. We can take him before midday. Meanwhile, on Russian state TV, hosts and panelists giggling uncontrollably while discussing nuclear strikes against the continental territory of the United States. Can you imagine any of our prominent media acres laughing at the idea of destroying cities? Watch this. Subtitles at the bottom. This is their state media.
У американцев таких ракет нет и никогда не было. Чем привлекателен Южный полюс? А мы сразу знаем, куда ее запускать, да? Ну, конечно. Через Южный полюс, через Северный. Нет, ну, речь идет... У нас только одна цель. Нет, речь идет, конечно, о территории, континентальной территории Соединенных Штатов.
Ну так, на секунду. Эта ракета, если окажется там,
где, в общем, она могла бы оказаться в худшем случае, способна уничтожить какого рода объекты, какие площади, территории?
Я вам так скажу, что если 7,5 мегатонн будет доставлено на территорию, как говорится, нашего партнера, то...
Тут слово партнер очень важно.
Да, то такие объекты, как город Нью-Йорк. Хороший город, но его не будет. Вообще. Одной ракеты, конечно. Совсем. От слова совсем. Вот. Поэтому лучше не надо. Американцы, кстати, всегда, они всегда боялись наших тяжелых ракет.
So, that's what they're saying on Russian state TV.
У американцев таких ракет нет и никогда не было. Чем привлекателен Южный полюс.
А мы сразу знаем, куда ее запускать, да?
Ну, конечно.
Через Южный полюс, через Северный.
Речь идет,
у нас только одна цель.
Нет, речь идет, конечно, о континентальной территории Соединенных Штатов.
Ну так, на секунду. Эта ракета, если окажется там, где, в общем, она могла бы оказаться в худшем случае, способна уничтожить какого рода объекты, какие площади, территории?
Я вам так скажу, что если 7,5 мегатонн будет доставлено на территорию, как говорится, нашего партнера,
Тут слово партнер очень важно.
Да, то такие объекты, как город Нью-Йорк. Хороший город, но его не будет. Вообще.
Одной
ракеты, конечно. Совсем. От слова совсем. Вот. Поэтому лучше не надо.
Красивый
Американцы,
город.
кстати, всегда, они всегда боялись наших тяжелых ракет.
All right. That is what Russian state media is saying, that that weapon could reach United States and it would completely destroy the entire city of New York. Putin gave the name Guard 640 MB of the Russian Federation, the one that committed the most atrocities in the Kyiv region. So he gave awards to that unit that was in that Bucha Irpin region that committed atrocities. Putin gave him awards.
Путін присвоїв найменування гвардійська 64-й окремій мотострілецькій бригаді. Так, саме солдати цієї бригади найбільше звірствували на Київщині. Ірпінь, Буча, Гостомель, інші міста та села. Ці виродки не щадили ні жінок, ні дітей. За масовий героїзм та відвагу зазначено в путінському наказі. Масовий? Так. Більше 1200 мирних торкається. Хочеш, щоб тебе вважали героєм? Грабуй, гвалтуй, вбивай. Це прийти на чужу землю і нищити все, до чого торкається твоя загарбницька рука. За інформацією Головного управління розвідки Міністерства оборони України, 64-ту мотострілецьку бригаду РФ повертають в Україну майже без відпочинку, поки ще не забувся смак крові. Мета такого швидкого повернення – залякати населення України та якнайшвидше утилізувати своїх свідків злочинів. Народ України вже довів – нас не залякати. А щодо свідків, то московські виродки нам тут не потрібні. Свідками їхніх звірств будуть ті, кому пощастило вижити в цьому жахітті, яке на Московії називають «руським міром». Нас не здолати. Україна переможе.
Mike, you're not looking unless you're just trolling. It takes 2 seconds to find it. You've asked now multiple times. I'm telling you, look it. See the word that says fundraiser? Okay, bang. What was that number right there? That took me 2 seconds to find that. And then there's the donation button right there. You click that. It's still there, Ukraine War Relief. Still there. Just click it. Go to the homepage. I promise. Alright, y'all. We're getting near the ending. About another 12 minutes left. Minute of silence in Ukraine. That was 33 minutes ago. We've gone through all the all the footage from the day. Let's check our list again. %. That's what I figured. That's the newest from Ramzan Kadyrov. I wonder if there's any other Russian propaganda pieces that are being shared. That's about it there. We went through that and how, just a little recap. If you guys want to rewatch the stream, or if you're watching after the fact, we went through various Russian military videos and how they are just completely fake or are staged. Oh, John posted an update. Of course, we almost forgot about John. Can't forget about John. Thank you. Remember you're loved and never underestimate the power you have in your veins. Truly praying for the human race. The loss of life is heartbreaking. Blake Lapine. Thank you so much, Blake. Let's look at John. Vladimir Putin, do fuck off. Ukrainian Psychiatric Association rocks. So here it is. This is day 56. Russian army not going forwards. All right, let's get orange hats in the chat.
Kyiv Diary, day 56 of Vladimir Putin's war. Look at this queue behind me. Are they queuing for potatoes? No. No. They're queuing for the stamps which say Russian warship, fuck off. So, and they're queuing around the block. The post office is that way. They're going all the way around the block. That's how crazy the queue is for the stamps that says Russian Navy to fuck off. So, the big news is from the Battle of Donbas. As I believe I said yesterday, it started, but the Russian army is not moving forwards. Therefore, in simple terms, the Ukrainian army is winning. And the reason for this is simple. Yes, the Ukrainians...
If you're missing the stream, hit the notification bell. I'll show you guys how, but you need to make sure your notifications are set to all. All right, then you won't miss any, but you have to set your notifications manually to all on the channel.
Call them the orcs, and I kind of didn't like going there, but seeing what they did in Bucha, I kind of get it. But what they are, they're enormous numbers, lots and lots of them, but they go in straight lines, they're brutal, and they're stupid, and they're not effective in fighting a well-organized and highly spirited army like the Ukrainian army. They're really not good enough. So what's happening is that a lot of artillery, a lot of civilians are being killed entirely unnecessarily. But there are no major advances of the Russian army in the Battle of Donbas. And what Putin is hoping for is to call off his special military operation on May the 9th. The Ukrainians have got no such deadline. They're in it for the long haul, and they know the longer the wait, the more the weapons from the West will turn up. So, so that's the good news from Kyiv. Once again, look at that queue, folks. Round the block for stamps for Russian warships to fuck off. Love from Kyiv.
All right, that's the cue to get that shirt. We saw that. That's his Kyiv diary from the day before. News from Israel. Got to keep an eye on these videos and see how similar they all are. Let's check our list one more time. Hit a like in the chat, guys, if you enjoyed this coverage. We're live every night. What is it? Is it Thursday today? Yep. So we're live again tonight, and then I'm off tomorrow night. But I'm off on Friday night, but we'll be live tonight on Thursday. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for choosing Mercado Media. Again, thank you guys. Again, comment how your guys' day was. I think I'm going to be wrapping it up here now. I'm Andrew Mercado from Mercado Media. Another thing that's coming soon, too, that I want to show the chat. Well, we're going to be returning to. I'm going to be making another YouTube channel. All right? We have a Facebook page for gaming, but I'm going to be creating a new YouTube channel. Because apparently I need to get in on this thing. Apparently I need to start playing that. And I got it. So I'm going to be playing Elden Ring. We're going to be playing lots of games. And you guys are all interested in YouTube anyways. So I'm going to be creating a gaming YouTube channel. And I'll be streaming video games again. Alright. I miss streaming video games. So we're going to be getting back into that. I finally got everything all set up. Thank you guys so much. Again, have a wonderful evening. Take care. I'll be live again tomorrow between 9 and 9:30. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. If you watch this after the fact, thank you guys so much and have a wonderful night. Take care.